Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. Happy Women's History Month, Great Girlfriends. Ooh. So many amazing things are happening in our community. I don't even know where to start. Start with that big screen. Listen, if you're not a part of our Facebook group, I'm going to tell you to jump right over. First things first, before you even get into this episode, go to facebook.com/groups/the Great Girlfriends. Join our community. We are having all the conversations, all the connections, so much support, so much anchoring happening there. And it makes me really, really happy to see so many women thriving and coming together in the name of sisterhood and community and friendship. That's what this is all about. So I want to see you in that community. And when you do jump in, make sure you say, I heard about it on the podcast, because I want to know who the listeners are. And I'd love to know what you're gaining from the podcast and what you'd like to see in future episodes as we are rolling out new content for 2021. There's also been special announcements about a contest where you, as a female entrepreneur, could possibly win $100,000. Yes. Now, I don't know if y'all been on this pitch and grant train that's been happening, but there's so many opportunities out there for you to really, really support your business, support your dreams, your visions, all through grant funding. And I'm seeing them all over the place. And I'm seeing so many of my great girlfriends receive grants. And we've been so blessed to partner with Essence and Pine Sol to share this opportunity, the same opportunity that we shared last year, sharing it again this year. $100,000 giveaway. And so if you jump in our Facebook group, all the details are there. You can learn more about it and you can enter your business to win that $100,000. On top of that, if you're a person who loves more intimate community, right? So our Facebook group has 21,000 women. Maybe that's too many women for you. Maybe you like a more intimate space where women are connected on a more one-on-one basis, where you can see people by name, come to monthly events, put your visions, your plans out there, set goals, and have the support that you need to make those moves that you want to make in 2021. Then I'm inviting you to our private community, which is called The Bond. It is a private growth circle. Now listen, it's not for everyone. I understand. Not everyone wants that one-on-one connection and accountability. But then there's some of us who really, really need that, because we are moving the mountains that have been holding us back and have allowed us to sit stagnant or have excuses for why we can't succeed at certain things. So I'm inviting you to join The Bond, which is a private growth circle for women who want more intimate connection. I'm in there every day. I'm connecting with women every day. I'm mentoring, I'm advising, I'm supporting, I'm laughing. I'm getting the accountability I need. We're all growing together. So many of our community members made some major traction last year as a result of being aligned with women who are thinking, moving, and feeling the same way that they are. There is no reason why you can't win at all that you desire to win at, but you will need support. And that's what having a strong community is all about. So if that's you, I want to see you inside the community. You're going to go to bit.ly/the bond circle. That's bit.ly/the bond circle. Jump in. Don't think twice. Don't say, wait a minute, can I make this happen? How can I make this happen? Say, I'm going to make this happen. Jump right in. Get acquainted. I'll see you inside. We have events coming up every month. We have about 4 events a month, and it gives us a chance to learn each other more intimately and just connect and have fun and feel connected along our journey. So get in there. The Bond. bit.ly/the bond circle. Next, all you listeners from around the world, 100 countries, actually over 100 countries now, 178 U.S. markets, okay? Over 21,000 listeners every single month. We want your reviews. I want your reviews. If you like, love, enjoy, want to share this show with another woman who should be a part of this community, I need your iTunes review. We have been in the business of podcasting for about 6 years now, and the show has done so well. We've gained so much traction. We've been in the top 100 in the iTunes self-help and business categories a number of times. There's just been so much opportunity and so much content that's been poured out on this podcast. Having said that, we need your reviews. Go to iTunes, select our podcast, scroll to the bottom. It says write a review. That's your spot. You're going to not just give us 5 stars, but also say what you really, really like and take away from this podcast. It's not just for me. It means the world to another great girlfriend who may want to listen and is on the fence about it. Just share your favorite episode number, or share something you took away, or share why you love this show, or share why you would want someone else to listen. And I love one of my favorite reviews that we hear so often with this show is that this feels like, a living room. It feels like great girlfriends in your head. And that's the goal. The goal when we created this show was that women would feel like you have the sisterhood that you've always longed for right here on this platform. And that you would feel like you could, yeah, that's right, do all of that while you're listening to the podcast. So having said that, I'm asking you to please go and leave your very important iTunes review. It helps another great girlfriend locate the show and helps her to get vested in the community. All right, we're all set for an exciting show today, so do grab your pen and paper, be prepared to take notes, and enjoy. Great girlfriends, you are in for a treat today. Oh my goodness, I feel like I travel the world meeting all of the most amazing women on the planet who really just, I don't know, I feel like I become better after every single conversation I have. And so here's another one of those dynamic women that have found out a lot about in recent months. And I'm so glad we'll have this discovery conversation about how she does it, what she does that matters to each one of us and to your great girlfriend circle, and why it's so important that we learn a lot about our bodies in the way that she's teaching us. So I want to welcome Afton Vechery, who is the co-founder and CEO of Modern Fertility.
Great. Thank you so much for having me and for that awesome introduction. I am just so excited to be here and have this conversation with you.
I am so grateful, Afton. I read and dug, and I have to tell you, I'm a mother of 2. So I've always felt on the outside of fertility conversations, right? I'm like, well, no, I'm good. I actually don't want any kids. So I've always been on the side where I'm like, no. But then I'm sitting in the middle of my great girlfriend circles, and I'm learning so much about the different stories that have come to life over women who are trying to navigate this journey. And, the more years that we gather, I hear even more stories. And your company is such an amazing and empowering resource. But I know, building such a company, Modern Fertility, and building and creating that or curating that conversation does not come easy. So I'd love for you to kind of give me a bit about who you are, what you do with Carly, why you all have started such an instrumental company for women, and what we need to know.
Oh my gosh. Well, yes, that is a great place to start. And oh my gosh, how should I dive in? So yeah, I think, hi, I'm Afton. I'm our co-founder and CEO. Oh gosh, I grew up in rural Maryland, ended up going to school down south, but then moved to New York City to work in finance. That's my first job. And when I was in finance, that's really surprisingly where my journey and kind of obsession with women's health started. I so my job was basically to find sectors of healthcare that were interesting, growing, had some consolidation potential. And because of my personal interest in women's health, I just ended up spending a lot of time there. And within women's health, kind of focused in on fertility and infertility. And from kind of a finance perspective, the infertility space is quite interesting. You have women that are unfortunately paying a lot of money out of pocket for these procedures. You have a growth rate, today, depending on the stat that you look at, 1 in 6 or 1 in 8 couples have infertility, which is just crazy. And that number is still, unfortunately, on the rise. And when you look at all of those factors compounding together, it was a great investment thesis to look at infertility clinics. And so as part of that process, I learned the science of infertility. I learned the business of infertility, but it was really the emotional aspect that stuck with me. I had to go into infertility clinics in New York City and meet these women who told me, no one ever told me that fertility declined with age, or no one ever told me that, IVF isn't this, magic bullet that will work for every person. And, that was my first job out of school. I don't think I really understood at the time, just that I had this secret lens into these conversations and information that I wouldn't be talking about with my girlfriends for a few more years down the line. But I don't know. I kept coming back to it. And, fast forward, I ended up leaving finance, moving out to the West Coast, joining a variety of personalized medicine, women's health companies. Before Modern Fertility, I ran the consumer tools division as a product manager at 23andMe, and was in charge of basically anything you could do with your genetic information. To make a very long story short, I realized that I was waiting until later in life to start my own family, realized that there were these baseline tests that I had learned about back in the private equity days that I could do to understand my body and have more personalized information and tools to make the decisions that were right for me. I set out to get those tests done, but my OBGYN said, no, you're not actively trying and failing to have a baby. We're not going to prescribe them for you. So I had to go into an infertility clinic, got the testing done. That whole nother story about just finding time. I have actually, through that process, got diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which affects 1 in 10 women, is one of the leading causes of infertility. But when I finally got those results back, it was just so empowering to have a conversation with myself, my partner, my doctor. But the aha moment for Modern Fertility was really the fact that every person that I would talk to about this experience was like, yes, like I want more information. I'm thinking about this too. So Modern Fertility really came out of the fact of starting a fertility information company to empower women to own the decisions impacting their bodies and futures, whatever those decisions might be. And we just went a step further than information, and now have products, tools, and services that really support women into understanding about more about their bodies, so that they can just have more information to make those decisions.
That is so, so good. So, because listen, I'll tell you, many of us grew up assuming that it was a birthright that we would just be able to have kids when we were ready, and just kind of took that as our working knowledge, because I don't know that our moms had those conversations with us about the idea of infertility and, all those things that have surfaced with us over time. And then there's questions about whether or not food is a contributor, alongside age, alongside just changes in environment and work and stress and all those impositions that we have with our the modern world, the way that we as women operate. It leaves us with a lot of questions and nowhere to turn except to our friends who only share experience, but without the expertise. So how do you gather the insights, and tell me what some of those insights have looked like for you in terms of the contributors to infertility or things that help to make the body ready for fertility? What do you know now that you didn't know before?
Oh my gosh, so much. And I think you started this question out the exact right way. Our entire education system today is focused on preventing pregnancy, not planning for it. We were made to believe that if you just, as women, if you were looking to get pregnant with sperm, if you touch sperm, you would be pregnant. And the reality is that's not the case. Right. And then our whole healthcare system is also focused on preventing pregnancy for the most part. It's really hard in a 15-minute well-visit appointment with your OBGYN to talk through your whole family planning timeline. Our healthcare system and our society today, having a baby in the US is not a right. It's a privilege. There's no federal coverage for troubleshooting and having issues with this process. And so I think you nailed it. Our goal with Modern Fertility was, we would start and create this digital experience where you could do a simple finger prick, put a few drops of blood on a card, mail it back to our accredited laboratory, and then get access to the Modern Fertility experience, which would basically personalize based on your age, self-reported medical information, and your hormone test results, just a baseline. Fertility hormones are kind of like your fertility detectives. They're not going to be able to predict or confirm fertility, or what your process will look like, but we can identify red flags. We can look at the average age of menopause onset and how your hormones tie to those, and dependent on how many kids you want and when you're starting, your menopausal transition and fertility plans may or may not overlap, which we see in a lot of our customers. And then if you're pursuing other treatments like IVF or egg freezing, just, what are those? What does your success look like? And how can you just be empowered to have that baseline to navigate the world. And so, to your question of, what have I learned that, we haven't learned before? Just everything. Our process really, and starting the company, was to really just start and build out our network of reproductive endocrinologists. So infertility doctors, OBGYNs, reproductive psychologists, pull together an amazing medical advisory board, all of the latest fertility publications. There's about 3,500 a year that continue to get published. And then major guidelines. So there's kind of major industry societies, American Society for Reproductive Medicine, ACOG, American Academy of Obstetrics and Gynecology. And how do we just build out our clinical team to do all of the hard work of pulling out, okay, where is the science today? And how do we present that in a way that's kind of like talking to your OBGYN that also happens to be your best friend? And so, oh my gosh, you're born with all the eggs you're ever going to have at birth. That number goes to near zero at menopause. We recently, after the Modern Fertility hormone test, launched an ovulation test. And I thought that you could really get pregnant any day of the month. And it was literally, it took us, starting Modern Fertility and launching ovulation testing, which helps you pinpoint your 2 most fertile days, to understand that that those days can look totally different for any woman, dependent on the number of days in your cycle, but that you can't get pregnant every day of the month. So really, it is just, I'm so grateful to our clinical team, the time that I get to spend just obsessing over, reproductive health 101. And it's just a constant journey of discovery, taking all of those questions and kind of packaging them up with a bow on them to our customers and community, so that they can just have more kind of grounded, clinically sound information to help them navigate.
Oh, that's so good. It's so good, because we are all navigating. We're all, I tell my little 9-year-old daughter and my 11-year-old, well, he's now 12-year-old son, we're figuring this out. I know you think adults know a lot more, and we do have a lot more in terms of experience, over our years acquired, but the world is changing for everyone. And so we're all figuring this thing out. We don't know what we don't know, but the best thing we can do in life is to ask big questions and really, go on a path of discovery to learn or to, be connected with solutions. So what was there's one thing for you, Afton, to see the opportunity in this space, to say, there's a huge gap here, but what is the big question you ask yourself that you then text to Carly, or Carly texts you to say, hey girl, it's time that we create the solution. What do you say to yourself that gives you the power to be the one to create the change?
Yeah. I think, following your question, I love that real talk conversation that you have with your kids. And that is exactly the type of tone and demeanor we try to take with all of our customers. It's just real talk. Well, we're not going to make the decision for you. We're going to tell you where the science is and empower you to make that decision yourself. And I think that mantra from day one is really what Carly and I took. And, I think, in all of this research, in my personal journey, it was really determining that information and just giving information to women earlier and having that information be as robust as possible. That was the biggest way that I could make an impact on the space, and that women deserved this information. Yet as a healthcare system, as a society today, we weren't set up to deliver that information effectively. And as I played out the next decade of just changes that would have to occur on the education system and healthcare system, it just wasn't fast enough to help me, my friends, my family, just make these decisions. And so in meeting Carly, my co-founder, it was actually a process to meet Carly. I call it co-founder dating, where you just really try to decide if you want to marry this person that you're going to spend the majority of your waking hours with. But I knew that in order to, bring Modern Fertility to life, we had to create something that she wanted to engage with. And so Carly's background was really on kind of the brand and creative side of things. And so the combination of both of our skill sets kind of came together with, clinical and science, and then just building something that she truly could love and want to follow us on Instagram and get all of her facts about this incredibly stigmatized topic, fertility and infertility. And then, I think it is just the honest belief that women deserve this information, and waking up every morning and doing everything that we possibly can to put more information in the hands of people with ovaries. I think that just that getting to work on that problem every day, just it really helps. We're both like genuinely motivated by every aspect of solving this problem.
I love that. I love that. Speaking to that of popularizing the conversation, what were some of the things that you knew to kind of amplify in terms of the message?
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, there's kind of, I think when you're starting any company, there's like the gut sense of like what you want for yourself and what you would respond to. And then just like a lot of, A/B testing. And I think our thesis was, the infertility and fertility journey is just so different for women that we needed to create a company. We needed to create a movement that just enabled us as a business to stay connected with our consumers and understand from them, what's resonating, what's not resonating, what do you want? And really the what do you want question enabled us to launch after the Modern Fertility hormone test, our next two products, ovulation testing and pregnancy testing. And then we went live with those products earlier this year in 1,500 Walmart stores across the country, and being able to partner with the largest retailer in the U.S. to bring, not only clinically sound tools to all of these women, but also free education and resources and all of the kind of everything that powers modern fertility to every single one of those products. That was just, it was really customers demanding access to more tools, better solutions to make that happen. And so I think just this question of every single person that we talk to wants a predictor of future fertility. They want to know, when should I start? Am I going to have questions or not? What is this process going to look like for the number of kids that I want? And that doesn't exist yet. Science, unfortunately, isn't there. But we have better tools than just age alone to get us there. And so I think the question that we asked ourselves, the question that we built was, how can we be really transparent about where the science is and where the science isn't? Deliver tools and resources to help her get all of the information today. But then also when starting the company, we worked with our investors to make sure that we were continuing to invest in research to put the whole space forward. So we let all of our customers consent to have their anonymized data used in peer-reviewed research. So you own your data if you're a Modern Fertility customer, but you can choose to let us work with that data. And we now are working with our clinical team and our medical advisory board to build better predictors of future fertility. So taking all of this information, the goodwill of so many people with ovaries that have said, yes, like I want better tools for myself and my daughters, my family members, my colleagues. And so that research and development kind of takes into account the status quo, but also our vision for where we believe the world needs to go. And we should be able to have better predictors and fertility similar to most other areas of health. And so that broader vision is super motivating for us and the clinical community.
That's so good. A few things that I could take away from this episode are one that, I think your mission meets you. I think you come to a point in life where you're introduced to these unique opportunities where what you see matters more to you than it may matter to anyone else. And you feel like it's the responsibility of your heart and your mind to commit to it and to, create solutions that will help to serve another person's journey. Another thing that I've gained from this conversation is that you don't know what you don't know, and you don't have to, but you do have to partner and align with people who have the solutions that you need. So, for example, you don't have to know science, but you can ask questions that lead you to scientists that help to support your hypothesis and help to support your mission and help to, be a bridge for you and for, like you say, for every person with ovaries, which I just love that. And so, and I'm also hearing you say that, hope is a big part of us creating and presenting our knowledge base. Once you see the problem and you look to create solution, the solution is that you give someone hope through the insights and the awareness and the education that you're able to curate. Because again, the problem that you're solving is so big. You're talking about the legacy of a woman. And if it is her desire to have children, and it's her desire that be a part of her legacy, that she know what's possible for her and how to disrupt things that have not served her. So I just want to thank you for presenting that, because there's the business, the economics of fertility, which is a big business, in our country. And then there's the heart matter of infertility that only, I think, you have to have ovaries, right? To really, really get, to really get that and to really understand why this is so valuable, why it's essential. And so, woman to woman, I think it's really, really powerful that you have taken this on, and have really created a league for this conversation. And I'm curious, Afton, what will be your legacy? As we sort of talk about a woman's legacy and we talk about, all of the things that matter, what is that for you?
Oh gosh. Well, thank you for saying all of that. And, I think for me, when I said before, I genuinely believe that, information earlier is the number one thing that any person can do today to help themselves, help the women in their lives. I think fertility tied to the fact that it's not about having babies right now. It's about your reproductive health. It's about understanding all of those fundamentals earlier in life. And eventually, if we can start there and continue to build along this kind of path of reproductive health, I think solving infertility, like that is the holy grail, and just making as much progress as we possibly can against that is important. And I think, for me, I spend all of my, the majority of my life, my waking hours on Modern Fertility. It truly is my baby. And then, outside of that, I really try to take a view of, if I am supporting other initiatives and endeavors, how can I support that broader vision? And so I recently joined the board of the Society of Science in the Public, and they, every year put on the International Science Fair. And I, in public school back in Maryland, I participated in this. And I think that's really, meeting Nobel laureates at the International Science and Engineering Fair just sparked my love for science, but also helped me understand how, you need to understand the science, but that activism component, taking your discoveries and bringing them into the world, like that's how you can really make change. And so just seeing the number of women that are a growing percentage of ISEF participants and International Science and Engineering Fair participants, how they're winning these conferences. So continuing to invest, not only in fertility and infertility science today, but how, future generations of women are going to be able to support, and men are going to be able to support this growth over time. So for me, I'm all in. That's the world that we need to get to. And just trying to, I think it's just a really fun way to spend my time in this life today.
I love it. I love it. So good. So, okay. I'm going to have a lot of DMs and questions coming my way from women who want to know more and want to follow your journey and support. Where can they reach out and connect?
Oh my gosh, yes. So we want to connect back with them. I think, for any questions, we have an amazing customer experience team that really provides just one-on-one support and questions. You can email hi@modernfertility.com just to drop us a line. We have a community where we have just amazing conversations and discussions from, single mothers by choice to how to think about egg freezing to just, I want more information, or I'm actively trying to conceive. How do I navigate? And we're just happy to tag your listeners into any of those conversations. You can follow Modern Fertility on Instagram. You can tag and follow me on Instagram, Afton Vechery. We want to hear from everyone. We're just so excited to continue to bring this conversation to the forefront. So I really appreciate you taking the time to dive in and ask the hard questions and just be in support of this dialogue.
My absolute pleasure. You've been a dream guest. Thank you so much for being a part of the experience today. Great girlfriends, thank you for cheering Afton and Carly forward in their mission. And again, check out Modern Fertility. So many solutions there to kind of speak to your needs. And even if it's not for you, maybe it's for a great girlfriend, but let's continue to empower this mission and just, add this as part of our wellness consideration, I think, for women. It's just a big deal. So thank you so much, Afton. I appreciate you.
Thanks so much for having me. This was a blast.
Great girlfriends, did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast, into the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group, The Great Girlfriends. You follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_greatGFS. Last but not least, we'd like to thank my amazing husband, Kwaku, Sam and Dilly, and all of you for being a part of the global community that makes us so strong. Please remember to share with your friends. Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil Amuti, and I'm out. Peace.